So let's get started, really. So I'm going to share the microscope screen today. So you should be able to see what we're seeing. So this is our user interface. This is how we control the microscope. So we have our little sample picture down here. So these are everything we're going to look at today. We have this nice little schematic which tells us how high up the sample holder is and how high the top of our sample is, so we don't accidentally crash it into the microscope, because that's a very expensive thing to fix and it's very embarrassing for us to get an engineer out to come and sort it out. We have our chamber scope over here. This is a little camera inside the microscope, which shows us what's happening, so we can make sure it's all driving around properly, it's all working fine. So what we're going to do now is turn on the beam. So again, zoom in a little bit. I've already got this one in focus because I planned ahead. I'd say if everyone wants to have like a guess as to which animal this could be, this is more of a farm animal than a pet. And it should be something that's quite familiar to a lot of people. So if you've got an idea of what this one could be, let me know. And if not, I will spoil the surprise. It's not a huge surprise, actually. It's we'll drag around a little bit. Yep, it is sheep.
You're correct.
Yeah. So in the process of getting all the other samples mounted, I was wearing a woolly jumper and decided I could just pull out a bit of sheep and put it in as well. So this is Icelandic sheep wool, which I assume is similar to other sheep, but maybe better at holding out cold weather. Get in focus. You can kind of see it's quite platy. Lots of like different variations in thickness as well. So like we normally do, we'll take photos as we go through. These will be compiled into a little booklet that you'll get access to later next week. So we've got this nice little orange bar, which is very useful on this microscope, which tells us how far down the photo is. On the other microscope, sometimes you just have to guess and you're just waiting for it to finish.
It's very scaly, very rough.
I feel like wool is one of those things that like everyone knows how it feels. Actually, like seeing it, it's like
it looks like how it feels.
Yeah. Finish.
Perfect.
And we'll save the picture because I forget to do that quite a lot.
Classic microscopist mistake. Not
Yeah.
saving the photo. We all
Don't
do it.
save anything, you don't label anything, and then you go back to it a week later with no idea what anything means.
Yeah.
I think that was the issue last time because you took all the photos and labeled them all, and I was like, I can't remember what was what. Especially when I was looking at the orange because we did like the albedo and the flavida. I'm like, which bit was which? I can't
trying to reconstruct an orange, it's really hard. So you can see what I'm doing here is I'm just bringing it in and out of focus to try and make sure we get it at like that nice sweet point where it's a good crisp image. In my defense, I don't have my glasses on, so what I think is in focus may be slightly out.
Looks good to me.
I mean, that's not bad.
Yeah, it looks good.
Got some nice texture on it.
Yeah.
Just like a nice close-up of some sheep. So as we're going around, you can see there's a couple of different ways I can drive around with this microscope. I can click and drag, I can double click. We've also got a little joystick on our control panel. So everyone has their own individual ways that they enjoy using these microscopes. And unfortunately, like the double click doesn't always work on all of them, even though they're made by the same company. So you'll probably see me at some point trying to right click and nothing happening, just because I'm just used to using a different microscope now. Nice.
Perfect.
Show that sheet 3, please. Very organised today.
We are indeed. Trying to work out what type of hair it is. It's probably gonna be a nightmare if we don't label it right.
Are they? I mean, there are some differences between them, but I wouldn't trust myself enough to remember what they are. So as we drive around on the sample, you'll also see it on the chamber scope moving around, and you'll see the crosshair on this image moving as well. So it's actually quite handy, so you don't get lost. Because when you have lots of samples that all kind of look the same. Ugh.
What is that?
Can get a little bit confusing sometimes.
So flaky.
That's very flaky. Not sure I like that.
No.
Right, well, that's kind of like a brief introduction to what we're looking at today. So today we're using secondary electron imaging. So that's that SEI down the bottom there. So we're using our electron beam to look at the topography of the samples, so the shape of things rather than what they're made out of. Everything in here today is being coated in a really thin layer of gold just to make it conductive, so it doesn't, I don't know, catch fire in the microscope. So everything today will be in grayscale. So color-wise, quite a boring session, but hopefully quite an interesting one anyway. Yeah, so that's sheet wall. So we're going to move across to our first pet. So if you saw our Twitter post or our Instagram post, you've been introduced to all our pets that we're using today already. So this belongs to a horse called Hobnob. So Hobnob is a rescue pony or rescue horse that my aunt owns, and we've had him for about a decade now. So he was, if I can get that in focus. So this is hair from his mane, because that was the only bit I could grab off him. He was so muddy, but just the rest of it would have just been a handful of soil. Already you can see how that's quite different to the sheep wool.
Looks a lot coarser than the sheep wool.
Yeah, like really smooth, like not as flaky. So Hobnob is an RSPCA pony. I say pony, he's technically a horse, he's just about tall enough. So we don't know what sort of horse he is, but we know he's some type of cob. I changed the magnification halfway through that image. I think we might be okay.
Yeah, I think it's all right.
Yeah. Yes, we don't know exactly what sort of horse he is, but he's a hairy one, that's for sure. He grows a mustache in winter, which is quite cute. But he was found by the RSPCA when he was a foal. So my aunt has had him since he was 2. They must be 10, 12, 14, that sort of range at the moment. And he lives a very nice, relaxing life. Hobnob one, please. Yeah. So he doesn't have to do much in his day-to-day life anymore, which is probably quite nice for him.
A very relaxed horse.
Yeah. Does he realise he's a horse? I don't know. He's very good at getting people to do what he wants to do. I think he thinks he's actually in charge. So very
smooth.
different, yeah. Which I guess makes sense, because like I suppose if you want to be like waterproof,
Yeah.
and it's like their manes are quite coarse. So I
Yeah,
guess it makes
definitely.
sense what's the focus like on that. So you might be able to see just about that every now and again the image comes into better focus, or it becomes sort of crisper. That's because I'm just changing the scan speed slightly. So I'm slowing down the beam of electrons as it goes over the sample, and we get just a slightly clearer image that way. It's a good way to make sure it's actually in focus and not roughly in focus. I have to keep an eye on the time today because I don't want to run over too much.
Yeah, definitely. 10 samples.
Yeah. So as always, if you have any questions, just pop them in the chat, or you can unmute and ask us directly. We've tried to put these ones in a sensible order. I think it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Nice and comparative. Comparative analysis is what we do. So, knob 2. Okay. I should probably just go straight over to Dodger as to do like a direct comparison.
Yeah, that sounds
like,
good.
Keep in mind what this one looks like, and we'll show you a different horse. Also belonging to my aunt. Dodger is another rescue pony. He is about 22, so he's ancient now. And again, has a very nice, relaxing life. I can't remember which RSPCA he came from. Hobnob was from the Dartmoor RSPCA. But Dodger is an ex-traveller pony. So they look very different. Their mane feels very different, and I guess you can kind of see that happening. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's still the mane hair as well. But actually, when you like, if you stroke them, they feel very different.
This one's a lot more scaly.
Yeah. Which is not what I expected, because like Hobnob has a much coarser mane. Dodger's quite fine and sort of quite dainty. I wonder if like this is like some of like it's natural oils or something that are like coating the hair, or it's just really muddy, which is another
very good possibility.
Very reasonable possibility when you live in Wiltshire in winter. Yeah, it looks really, really flaky.
Yeah.
So both of these ponies are named after biscuits.
Nice.
That'll be Dodger one. So Dodger was originally called Trevor, but we thought that was an unfair name for such a cute little pony. Apologies to the Trevors out there. Yeah, so instead we renamed him Dodger. Have like the little biscuit boys.
Yeah.
But it's a very funny little horse. Oh, wrong way. Let's see if I can like get like
see what it's like inside.
the inside. So if you were here for the Christmas one or the Winter Wonder last month, we had a look at reindeer hair that has like a honeycomb structure on the inside, and that's kind of how reindeer help keep themselves warm. So I'm gonna see if I can actually like see the inside bit of the horse.
Yeah, reindeer, it's hollow inside for the air, and it acts as an insulator.
Give me the contrast around a little bit because we're a bit chargy. So when we say that charging's happening in an SEM, basically you've got an area where you haven't got a good coating, and basically the electrons kind of get stuck and they can't go anywhere. So you end up with kind of like very bright spots, or it might sort of make the image wobble around a little bit. So you can kind of see through here, there's like this little bit of warping happening. That's some of the charging that's happening, but we'll get a picture of that anyway, just in case. And lower the contrast a little bit, and we'll get like a better idea of the texture.
Yeah.
Ooh,
it looks very like messy texture.
Yeah. And this is with it cut with a razor blade as well. So like it just seemed quite a clean cut, but maybe not. Maybe I did a really bad job. So compared to our other pictures, this one might be a little bit wobbly, and that's just because that charging, it basically sort of bends the electron beam around and bends the image. So you can see up through here, you've got like this wiggle through there. That's probably a charging effect. So we try and reduce charging as much as we can, because it does mess with the images, it does mess with the data that you get. And you see like this big chunk through here where it's sort of shunted around. You get like a rough idea of what's happening inside the horsehair there. So probably what's happened here is that when it's coated, the gold just hasn't quite got to like the right angle, and it's just missed it a little bit. But for this, it's not too bad. I've worked on things that charge much, much worse. But you can't actually get an image because you try and like tell it to take a photo and it's gone.
Yeah.
It just leaves.
Especially if you're looking at loose grains, you can actually see them like just pinging off and jumping around. Like, nope, I'm not doing this today.
Yeah. Anything like even slightly magnetic, it's just not going to happen. Ooh, wrong way. Ooh. It's very flaky, isn't it?
Yeah, I wonder if the shape of the flakes mean anything. I feel like it definitely does. Just don't know what.
So like Hobnob, we actually don't know what sort of horse Dodger is, because he's a rescue. So he's generically a native breed of some description and probably a mixture of a couple of things. But he's a very cute little pony. Very good fun. When my aunt first got him, he was very, very shy and quite nervous, but he learned to be naughty very quickly, which is a good sign. He's an absolute menace now. That's probably like a good like horse to horse to sheep comparison. Definitely. I feel like horses and sheep probably fall under like the same sort of like farmyard umbrella.
Yeah.
It is going to be quite speedy today, just because the end. But once we get onto our next sample, we'll slow down a little bit because this belongs to Cesca.
It does indeed. So this sample is from my cat Wanda, who is a 13-year-old black tabby cat, and she spends most of her time in the garden digging up mum's houseplants, naturally And sleeping. She sleeps a lot. She's very curious as
Good
well.
for her.
So yeah, I know. Get that much sleep, that'd be great.
We'll look at the hair first, then we can do the claw.
Yeah, so getting hair from Wanda wasn't too difficult because she molts so much. And she's also got a brother called Cosmo, named after the TV show Fairly Odd Parents. And they feel quite different as well. So Wanda's fur usually feels a lot rougher than Cosmo's. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't have any of Cosmo's hair, but it'll be cool to see if her hair looks like it would be rough.
So because we've got sort of 3-dimensional samples now, getting the focus on them can be a bit tricky because trying to focus on something that's in front of another piece is a bit hard. That's not bad, I don't think.
Yeah, even those two hairs look different.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's further back and much bigger.
Yeah.
So I wonder if she's got like a double layered coat or something.
That'd be pretty cool.
Like very different to the horses.
Yeah. So one of Wanda's hobbies is bringing in animals from the garden. So there's been many times where we've had slow worms, mice, birds, a lot of animals.
Can you see how all like the dust sticks to it as well?
Yeah.
And like really fine particles of dust as well. Like that's tiny.
It's so small.
But this is maybe what, 20 microns across?
Yeah. Yeah.
God, what's that in millimeters? 0.02?
Yeah, 0.02, I think. 0.02?
I think so. Really hit this point in my career. There's quite a difference in like the size of the hair though.
Yeah, definitely.
I wonder why.
It's so cool.
The
I wonder
final
how
one's
whiskers
just like a...
as well.
Yeah, actually.
I feel like that would be very unfair though, trying to get a whisker.
I think, you know, you're welcome to try, but I'm not sure how well it will go.
No. It's like petals, like a tulip or something.
A little bit, yeah. Oh, that's worse. So probably all that sort of like grinding noise you can hear in the background, that's me spinning the focus. So the dials we have on the control pad for this one are phenomenally loud. And if anyone is doing anything on this microscope, you can hear them from the rest of the lab.
Can confirm, you can.
Yeah. Oh, this one's quite old. So as the stage inside moves around this little block, particularly as it goes up and down, it just sounds awful. It's just grinding away. But it works. And of all the microscopes, it's a very user-friendly one. So this is one of like our good training microscopes. Not quite in focus, but I think it's good enough.
Yeah, I think so. A fun fact, America has a Black Cat Appreciation Day on the 17th of August that I think we should introduce here.
Sure, we can do that.
A
Cat
party.
day in the lab. Be lovely.
There we go.
Right, so we've also got a cat claw.
Yes, my mum managed to find one of Wanda's claws in one of her blankets, and naturally I was like, I need to take that to put in the SEM. So we now have a claw.
Don't find like the go all the way out.
Yeah.
Should we find like the point?
Yeah. It's like the outer sheath of the claw. It's not like an actual claw.
The claw is like
it's the shedded version.
Not as like pointy as I thought it would be. And of course I put like hair on top of it.
Yeah.
Wrong way. And that's quite cool.
Yeah.
Get some texture on it.
I feel like it looks like what I'd imagine a nail to look like under the SEM.
Yeah, I've not looked at fingernails in an SEM yet.
No.
I'm sure we could do like an upsetting body parts or one at some point.
That's pretty cool.
With a content warning at the beginning.
Yeah.
Content warning just for me, I think. I can't get like this middle bit in focus.
Yeah.
So we have 2 focusing speeds on this microscope. We can do coarse focus, which makes big changes, and a finer focus, which makes finer changes. Often I forget to press the button and I end up going way out of focus. And it takes me a while to pull it back. So because we're looking at sort of like the side of the core at this point, you'll see how like this bit will be out of focus and this bit will be out, but this middle bit should be much clearer. So often when we're doing SEM work, we like trying to use flat samples where we can, just because then everything's in focus. It makes it easier for us and you get better data across it. But secondary electron's good for making like more sort of like arty images, which is pretty good fun.
Yeah, it's cool seeing it in like near 3D.
Yeah. We'll save that one. Maybe we'll do one more claw and then we'll dive across the next one because I think my dad has a meeting and I don't want him to miss his own dog. That would be a shame. I should get the whole office to sign in.
Yeah.
They all come and do it. It looks very wood-like.
Yeah. So weird.
Looks like a good bit, gets some good texture. But it was much rougher than I thought it would be.
Yeah. Ooh, this looks even more rough.
I think that's all the main bits in focus, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Wow.
I guess I can kind of imagine it though, because like when you break a nail, like, and you can take like the top couple of layers off.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. Surprised we haven't found more like shedding of course. They do it like for like a month, every couple months.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's quite a regular thing.
I mean, I don't know a whole lot about cats or a dog family.
I am definitely a cat family.
Yeah. So you can see how we've got some charging coming through here again. So we've got like these bands, these big white splotches. Because this is quite a 3D surface, it can be a little bit hard for the gold coating to get in all those bits. But we'll see if we can like find another patch that's similar. It's not a terrible image. It's not changed too much.
Perfect.
Let's have a look at like, the top of it.
Yeah.
And see this sort of lump in the background is some sticky carbon that I've used to sort of glue this down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm surprised the claw wasn't as sharp. I do just got them in your scratch post.
I guess it's probably
kind of
still quite, it probably is still quite sharp in comparison.
Yeah, this is true.
If you do like an animal claw versus like thorns in nature at some point.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
It's quite cool though. Like it's much more textured than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed it would be like this.
I didn't expect it to have like bits coming off it as well.
Yeah. Right. Jump across to my dog. So this is, if I can get it, that's in focus. Oh, wrong way.
Whilst you're focusing, there's a question come in saying, why do you use sticky carbon?
So what we want to do is try and make everything as conductive as possible. So carbon is really good at conducting things. So that's why carbon nanotubes are really important these days. But the benefit of using sort of like the sticky carbon tack is it kind of works like blue tack. So if you've got like a thing that's a weird shape or it doesn't have like a flat surface you can stick down, you can kind of sort of like blue tack it down. You can put blue tack itself into a microscope. But it has to be like brand blue tack. Like the knockoff blue tacks don't work as well apparently. Yeah, we've used blue tack for other things in the past. But it's just a good way to stick down things that aren't a sensible sticking down shape.
Yeah, you can use other things as well. So I think we use silver dag, so that's just a silver paste in the lab as well. So normally anything conductive, it's just obviously carbon is easiest and cheapest. So and works really well. So
yeah. Well, there we go. That's about right.
Yeah, actually.
So this is some hair from my dog Laszlo. He is an 11-year-old Irish setter. So this I managed to grab off him when I went home for Christmas. So this is his very, very outer coat. So not like the nice, smooth, shiny orange bits. This is like the fluff that he uses to keep himself warm. Yeah, it's like much more like Wanda's hair.
Yeah,
actually.
I was gonna say.
But like the
more
plates are
similar
different. So like Wanda's has almost like tulip sort of style.
Yeah.
Things.
These
This is
ones are kinda more
like
flat.
yeah, almost like a leek rather
Yeah,
than like
exactly like
tulip.
Lee.
Yeah. That'd be Laszlo 1, please. So Laszlo was named Laszlo because when we were thinking about getting a dog, we thought we were going to get a Hungarian Vizsla at the time. So we looked at Hungarian names and we liked Laszlo. At the time, we still had guinea pigs, and we figured a dog with actually a very high prey drive and small animals in the living room is probably not the best combo. But the name just kind of stuck. So we've got a different type of hair there.
Yeah, that's so weird.
And like it's all very flaky here. So I think this coarser bit is part of his neuter coat. So when you get setters done, they can often like their coat changes, and you often get like these blonder sort of like almost like frizzy bits that come through. So our previous dog Peggy had like some yellow stripes on her legs. Laszlo's got like 2 sort of stripes down his back, and it feels very different. It feels very dry. So I wonder if that's what this big chunk in the middle is, because it's very, very flaky.
It's very different to the
from
other
that. Check my list of interesting setter facts. So Irish setters are the youngest of the 3 setter breeds. So there's English setters, Irish setters, and Gordon setters. And Irish setters are the youngest ones. And they kind of came about because Irish hunters needed a dog that was really fast, but also you could see it, which is why they went for the sort of red color. So originally they were all red and white setters. So they kind of looked like big spaniels. And you still do get red and white setters. But I think it was in 1862, like the full red color became more common and more popular. So they are gun dogs. That's rather than going to like catch animals or do any of the actual hunting, what setters do is they find a bird and they crouch down to keep it where it is, and mostly just to show the hunter where they are. He definitely needs a bath, doesn't he? He's a little bit scuzzy. They're very different to the cat hair, though.
Yeah, definitely. This one looks a lot more different than the others. Like that, the hair in the kind of background looks more like Wanda's hair than this hair.
How are we doing with time? Oh, got to rattle through the last one. It's about halfway there. The next one I think should be relatively quick because it looks very similar to Laszlo. He's a very silly little dog. I say little, he weighs about 35 kilos. He's quite large. He's unusually large for a setter. Yeah, there's a common misconception about setters that they're really stupid, and they're not. They're just smart enough to know it's not worth doing what you've asked them to do. They are selectively deaf, and if you aren't exciting enough or tasty enough, they're just not bothered. And we've had 3 now. They've all been the same. Laszlo was probably the most relaxed dog that we've had. We're up to, yeah. So this is another one of my aunt's dogs. This is a very, very elderly border collie called Blue. So like we just looked at Laszlo's outer coat, this is Blue's outer coat. Blue does not let you brush him, and he will bite if you try. Which is not an overreaction. He will go for you. But he's very old. He's deaf, probably quite hard of hearing. But it's probably quite similar to Laszlo's coat.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I'd assume. So similar sort of like working breed dog, that sort of fluffy outer coat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of like bleak outer leaf pattern. Kind of cool. You see lots of dust.
Yeah,
which means he lives on a farm, so it's probably full of soil.
Yeah,
wouldn't be too surprised. Don't have a whole lot of border collie facts though. Breed developed in the 1700s from a combination of other working dog breeds, and and became really popular with the English gentry in the 19th century. I keep knocking the magnification
Oh
down.
no.
So quite similar to Laszlo's, which I guess makes sense because they're both like working dogs.
Yeah.
And it's that outer sort of stuff that keeps them waterproof rather than keeping them warm. The blue.
Okay.
But he's a very cute dog. He's made entirely out of triangles. He's got very pointy little ears. He's got a very pointy little face. When he sits down, he is a perfect triangle. I'm a big fan of Blue. I quite enjoy him. Ooh. Trying to get the right bit in focus.
Get like tulip leek vibes.
Yeah.
Maybe spring onion.
Okay, so setters are leeks, cats are tulips, border collies are spring onions.
Perfect.
Got it. So in our little green ticker box at the bottom, we've got the imaging mode we're doing. So we're doing secondary electron imaging, SEI. Got how many volts we're at. So we're at 10,000 volts at the moment, which is pretty standard for most of what we do. Most of my work happens around 15 to 20,000 volts. This is our working distance, which is quite low today because we've got lots of three-dimensional samples, and the last thing I want to do is accidentally drive the microscope into itself.
We've got a question. How is the sample prepared?
Relatively simply, actually. So we have little stubs of metal, which are maybe a centimetre or so tall. What I did then was use a little sticky carbon tab, which basically is like double-sided sticky tape that's conductive. Pop that on top. Using a selection of tweezers, collected all the animal hair I could find from everyone and what everyone brought back. Put that on top. Then I sort of trimmed it to make sure it wasn't like too high up or like too far off the sides. And then we coated it in about, I think it's meant to be about 10 nanometers of gold. So gold coating is good for this sort of stuff where we're doing relatively low voltage, and it's really good at covering a rough surface. So here in the lab, we can do carbon coating, which we often do for rocks. We can also do chrome, which is good for things that don't stick particularly well. So when I've done some work on silicon and silicon gels in the past, we use chrome, just because it's pretty robust in comparison. That's in focus, isn't it? Yeah, that's in focus.
That's quite an arty photo with the what bit of fur in the top corner out of focus as well.
So I quite like secondary. It's just a little bit of charging there, but we might be okay. We can crop that bit off.
Yeah.
Yeah, preparing animal hair for analysis is actually pretty straightforward. Once you've got it stuck down onto something, you just coat it and then it's pretty good to go. Doesn't degas, so it doesn't release anything particularly. It's all quite dry anyway. So of all the things to try and put into an SEM, animal hair is actually pretty easy. Which makes it nice for us. It means it's an actual relaxing Friday. Right, we'll do that last one for Blue, and then we'll do Lorelai's dots.
Perfect. There we go.
So which order did I put them in? Go across. So this is Buzz's hair.
Ah, Buzzy boy. Who I don't know. I know my mum is in here with Buzz, might be around, so he might pop in to say hello. But yeah, Buzz is a Trailhound, which is quite a small, quite unknown breed. Oh, there's a camera. Wait, let me just let's put replace the spotlight. Yeah, there you go. You can see there's a sleeping Buzz.
Oh, hi Buzz.
Hello. So cute.
I can see some charging in the background there. We've got this bit moving, like it looks like the image is moving in the background. So there's just some charging happening back there, which is fine.
Oh yeah, that is moving. Yeah,
Oh,
Buzz is
full in focus. Let's stop that one. Let's try again.
Yeah, so Buzz is a Trailhound, which is a small breed from the Lake District, which were bred from lots of mixtures of different hounds, lurchers, foxhounds and stuff. So they're a scent-based hound that basically just run across the fells in races. they can run ridiculously fast. I can't remember how much. I want to say it's like 10 miles in half an hour, but that's probably wrong. But yeah, Buzz missed a lot of the racing due to COVID, so now he is a man of leisure and likes to curl up on any chair he can get his hands on
Good.
and sleep.
As he deserves.
Yes,
Adorable.
and pester you for food very early before dinner.
There's still quite a similar structure to the others, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So
Very
dog
similar
hair
to
to
the-
horse hair, very different.
Yeah.
10 miles in 30 minutes. I mean, that's
Yeah.
pretty speedy.
They are very speedy, but they can be also very lazy when you want to. So this is the second Trailhound that we've had. So before we had a Robbie.
Yeah.
Lots of sleeping. And he just, as soon as he realised he did not have to run anymore, he's like, nope, I'm not doing it. He wouldn't jump over fences anymore like he used to. He's like, no, would skirt away from mud and water. He's like, nope, not having it. I'm a man of leisure, I'm going to sleep.
That could be like a good bit. Like,
Ew.
get both angles.
Yeah, so
Then
baby.
get. Ooh.
Oh, the hair at the front looks quite like feathery in comparison. I guess not really feathery. I don't really know how to describe that.
Really quite good.
Rougher.
Yeah, his fur's
Yeah.
quite like, it's shiny and silky. Like it's like a mixture
Yeah.
of coarse and soft at the same time.
Yeah.
So
They're quite short haired as well, aren't they?
yeah, he's quite short haired. Yeah.
My watch telling me to move around.
Yeah, we've got 18 minutes.
Yeah, the same sort of like leak, sort of like overlapping pattern.
Yeah.
It's very different to cat hair, very different to horse hair.
Yeah. But very similar to the other dogs.
Yeah, so not much variation within dogs by the looks of it.
As well. Outside of the dogs.
Yeah.
There we go.
Like even like the plates are quite smooth.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's like any bits where I've got like the edge of a hair. Oh, that's quite a
Yeah,
coarse
it's a
hair.
very long course. Smooth.
Oh, maybe this is like so rather than like an outer coat or an inner coat thing, maybe this is like the other part of that.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's very different.
Yeah, the hair just kind of changed. Like on the top, it's a lot coarser, and then like
Yeah.
obviously on his ears and his face and around on his belly, it's a lot finer and
Yeah.
softer.
Okay, cool.
Maybe that's that coarse hair then.
Yeah.
It's much wider as well.
It's cool to see how different it actually is as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that one's save, and we'll go to the next dog.
This has got a lot of thin plates in comparison to the others too.
Yeah. It's cool. So I wonder if it is just like an inner coat, outer coat situation. So our next, or actually, can I get, no, come back. I wonder if I can just see like inside the dog hair. Like, have I cut them, any of them at like a sensible angle? Not really.
Not quite, no.
I wonder if I can focus past it.
Yeah, kinda.
Oh, there's like a hint of a structure.
Yeah.
I might do a drive round after the session's ended and see if I can find some proper, like,
Good plan.
at the edges. Well, let's go on to this doggy. So this is Finn, which is another Lorelei or Lorelei adjacent dog.
Yeah, my partner's family's dog, who would be here right now because you probably would have heard him, but he's out on a walk currently, so
Oh.
not around.
Do you want to tell us a
his-
bit about Finn?
Yeah, so he's a very long-haired German Shepherd, big and fluffy. But yeah, he loved playing fetch all day, every day, doesn't stop unless he wants cuddle. Like he did this morning, he jumped up on the bed and had a bit of a cuddle with me before we got up,
Aww.
which was very cute. But I think it was just a ploy to be like, hey, can you get out so we can go for a walk, please?
So this is much more similar to that Corsair and Buzzard's coat.
Yeah.
I suppose like German Shepherds are working dogs as well. So.
Yeah.
Is it quite smooth to stroke?
Yeah, so it's quite smooth. He's got two. You can see that there's two coats. Like there's the long, thicker, coarse outer coat, and then it's quite wavy and curly, fluffy inner coat, undercoat.
Yeah.
I think this might be the outer coat.
Yeah, I get like a smooth coarse vibe from this hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thin. I wonder if I got any of his inner coat on this.
Ooh, that hair, the
Maybe
looks really coarse.
Yeah. Think about there. See what happens. That's remarkably featureless.
Looks like contours.
It does. That could be a topographic map.
That's really cool.
That's more like horse's mane sort of texture.
Interesting.
I think in comparison to all our dogs, Finn's hair is much cleaner. So.
Yeah.
He does, because he's quite a big fluffy dog. He does get groomed quite often because it carries a smell. Because if he finds a muddy puddle and you don't have like control of him, he will sit in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you will be left with a smelly dog looking very pleased with himself.
Puddle water tastes best.
Yeah, so the outer coat looks like a bark effect and the softer undercoat looks like a leaf.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Seems to be a consistent thing across dogs as well, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
It looks like there's a really thin.
Yeah, like
I was pointing at the screen, but you can't. You got to the right bit.
Do you like this one?
Yeah.
Ooh, that looks very different.
Huh.
That's very different, isn't it?
Yeah. Kind of looks like a rope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really
I can't
cool.
tell if that's better
Very
or worse.
flaky.
That's worse, isn't it?
Better?
Go out a little bit. Let's see. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's good enough for a photo. A lot of SEM workers like going to the opticians trying to work out is this better focus or worse focus, and you're going back between two very similar things. And because we all have different eyesight as well, often you end up having to ask for a second opinion.
Yeah.
And then we all have different opinions on contrast and brightness. So everybody's like,
yes,
you've got to be like this or this. It's like, no.
Yeah. And then microscopes have different opinions on contrast and brightness as well.
Oh yeah, they do. And focus sometimes when the autofocus does want to work.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty okay on this one. I don't trust it on any other machine.
Yeah, no. This one's the only one I've found that the auto contrast brightness, the focus and the stig all kind of work. Everything else just blows it all out.
That's so different to the other one. Crazy.
That's really different, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cool though. I wonder if that's like the really fine sort of like undercoat. Oh, might be able to get.
It looks quite wavy on the when you zoomed out, so it might be.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. There's actually layers in there.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's kind of unsettling.
It's a little bit upsetting, but I will take a photo for posterity at the very least.
Holes in it as well. It's so weird.
Yeah. But different to how the horsehair was on the inside. That was more consistent throughout.
That's so weird. I wasn't expecting it to look like that.
Haven't done a very good job focusing that. Let's try again. I think it's going to be one of those things. It's a little bit chargy and you can kind of see it drifting. I've got to get it like good enough. That's a bit better.
Yeah, it's good.
So because it's cut at an angle, this one, getting the focus right across it isn't something that we can do at the moment. But we can get the focus kind of okay across most of it.
I wonder if that would be different to what cats would look like. You can see
Maybe.
something like that.
I can, after session, I have another drive around
Yeah.
and see if we can find like some cut bits and have a look
Yeah.
inside.
That'd be quite cool.
But I didn't expect there to be like layers.
Yeah. What's that about?
That's like a lasagna.
It is. Who knew that animal life was so comparable to food? Okay.
Right. Cool. We'll leave it there for the pets, but instead we've got some samples from Dartmoor Zoo. So our first one is wolf hair. So we can do a direct dog to wolf comparison and see what the difference is. So wolf hair immediately is much coarser.
Yeah.
So we've got quite a lot of samples from Dartmoor Zoo now. They've been very kind to us. So that's where we got our reindeer hair from for the winter one sem edition. So today I had a rummage through our little box and found some wolf and some tiger hair.
It looks very foldable.
Yeah. So this is more similar to like their outer coat, isn't it?
Yeah.
But like a bit more exaggerated. But much coarser.
Yeah. Scales look so different to the others as well. Kind of looks like ripples. Like the you know the like the desiccation cracks or salt cracks in Bolivia, that sort of vibe. Geology.
Yeah. Make everything
Everything
can find a comparison to a rock everywhere you go.
I wonder if dryness gives off that vibe with hair as well.
One.
There you go.
Yeah. That's quite that thin one as well.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it's like inner coat, outer coat thing.
Yeah. That looks like the thin one of thin.
Yeah. So maybe German Shepherds are more wolf-like than Border Collies are.
Maybe.
Who would have thought?
I wouldn't say this one, this German Shepherd isn't wolf-like. But
Oh, a little bit chargy there.
Stripey.
That's fine. It's not too bad. I got to neaten some of that up myself. That's very stripy, actually.
Yeah.
See if I can find another bit of it that's less.
Yeah.
We'll save it anyway, just in case. I guess it's all like that. Wolf one.
Okay.
Unfreeze it. There we go. There's a bit where I can get like both of them together. Yes.
There you go.
Get those like shots that are like best value for money. Which probably means that neither of them are actually in focus now. But like they're good enough.
I think the one at the back definitely
Yeah.
is.
And this was quite smooth in comparison.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely imagine it would like feel smoother when you stroke it. So.
Yeah. But yeah, if you got your hands like into a wolf coat,
Yeah. Probably not the best idea, but
I'm not going to try it, but I can imagine. Still a little bit chargy, but not too bad.
better than the other one, I think.
Save that as well. See what time we've got.
Okay.
Perfect timing to whip around to our final one.
Amazing.
So it's been a very like whirlwind tour today.
Whirlwind tour of all of the
We have
animals.
lots of different animals, lots of things to show you. But our last sample is some tiger hair. See how different it is to Wanda. Don't have any
Yeah.
tiger claws though,
No.
which is probably
That would be
fine.
very different.
So it's much finer than the
Yeah,
wolf hair. And it is really orange, actually, and the tube is really, really orange.
Yeah.
That's probably like a good bit to get most in.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I like it. It's quite different.
Yeah, it's actually not at all like cat hair in the slightest.
Yeah.
It's much more similar to like that sort of outer coat, sort of
Yeah,
platey stuff.
like it sort of looks similar, but not really.
Mhm. Yeah, I expected it to be more sort of with like the sort of tulipy,
Yeah,
platey bits.
yeah.
I
This is
guess 'cause
definitely
they-
more leak.
I guess because it's like their outer coat as well, and like tigers like swimming, so
This is true.
probably want to be like somewhat weather resistant.
Yeah, Wanda hates water as well, so that makes
See
sense.
if the cat still had like their tiger hair, be fine.
Yeah,
I wonder how different like cat hair is between different cat breeds.
I don't know. That's a good question. Cosmo and Wanda are tabby cats.
Yeah.
But
Tiger one. Right. We'll find a nice bit to end on. Good. Seems like good value for money. That's a charging bit there. We'll scooch past that.
that looks more tulipy than the other one. I
Yeah.
think.
Then maybe it's just the angle that it's at.
Maybe there's different hairs.
Yeah. But that's kind of the end of today's session. So it's a very quick whirlwind tour. Bit more like impact filled than our previous sessions. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming along. Next month is a really exciting one. So next month we will be looking at the Winchcombe meteorite. So we're part of the science team that's analysing this meteorite that landed a year ago. So to celebrate its 1 year anniversary on Earth, we're doing a special microscopy live session with myself, and I think our facility director Natasha Stephen is going to join us for that one. And we'll get to show you our little piece of Winchcombe, our little piece of space, before all the science papers are released. So it's kind of a sneak peek into what we've been working on, and to get some highly exclusive pictures. So I will